Hello, guys. Welcome to the newest episode of the Just Another Castle podcast. With me today, we have Flia.
Hello.
And we have Matt.
Hello.
So today we're going to begin, as opposed to our usual what we've been playing segment when we get to the end. We do want to spend a little bit of time on Mr. Satoru Iwata because, as everyone on the internet knows by now, he passed away due to a bile duct growth, so he had cancer. It looks like the same thing from last year, which is really unfortunate. And we kind of just think it's pretty safe to say almost everyone was kind of in shock. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. And I guess it falls into place. There were some conspiracy theories and stuff running around. People thought maybe Iwata didn't go to E3 because he was still sick, and I guess they ended up being right, which is really unfortunate. Another thing I thought was really unfortunate is the fact, one of the last things we heard from Iwata was him apologizing to people about E3, which is really sad also. I guess I don't really even know where to go from here, speaking about such a legend, I guess I'll just pass it off to you, Matt. You put some stuff here into the news email. You want to probably just add some stuff?
Sure.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. I don't even know what to say about this.
I should just grab the points from this or just read it verbatim.
You can just maybe say a few things. I mean, of course,
Sure.
yeah, Iwata was a developer. He didn't come from he was the first non-Yamauchi president of Nintendo. There have been 4 total presidents of Nintendo. The last Yamauchi was president for more than 50 years, which is incredible. Before Iwata came in, kind of like hand-selected because he was a developer, Halley worked on Balloon Fight and Kirby and Earthbound, etc. So he had a pedigree of development before he became the president. And so that's where a lot of people think his focus on fun comes in. His quotes about how he's a gamer on the inside, or the fact that games are just supposed to be fun. All these sorts of things kind of shaped him to be the president that he was. I'll pass it off to you, Matt, now.
Sure. I don't even know where to start. It's really interesting to see that. I kind of knew it before, but he was the kind of odd man out in the company. He was the only non-related one. But he did so well for himself that, they took him in as his own. They're like, we trust you enough to actually handle this company well. And it's sad because, Iwata passed away less than 2 years after, Mr. Yamauchi. So, Yamauchi trusted Iwata, and shortly after he left, now Iwata's gone, so there's no passing of the torch, unfortunately, for this case.
Well, and I feel like the scary thing is, this is, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm missing someone big, but to my knowledge, this is pretty much the biggest gaming icon to die while in office. Yamauchi died and he was huge, but he died not while he was president, but Iwata did. And I can't really remember anyone else that was of that caliber. In fact, I think that's why it was such a big deal. I mean, when Yamauchi died, it was a big deal, but I don't feel like it was as big of a deal, partly because of the Nintendo Direct and the fact that everyone knows Iwata so well. But partly because he's still the president of Nintendo. And I think that's why it was just so important, why you had people from Sony and Microsoft and Rare and even Skype,
Yeah, that one really threw me off. I'm like, wait, Skype? They're not even tangentially related.
Yeah, not even in the industry. It was covered by all the...
which made fun of Nintendo's games a lot. Was
Yeah.
angry at them. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, and then of course, all the outside the industry, all the mainstream media that covered it. It's just so important, and sent shockwaves, I think, through the gaming industry. All of a sudden, people are kind of... It's one of those things where you don't know how good it is until it's gone. And all of a sudden, all these people who have maybe been bashing Nintendo for a while, or people that weren't happy with their E3, are all of a sudden like, wait, let's put some brakes on this. Because games are meant to be fun, and it's not about arguing, and it's not about screaming that your console's better. And kind of like the whole industry came together for Iwata, and even, going through the IGN comments, which are usually filled with screaming and hate and all this sort of thing, I'd say 95% of the comments were people, mourning the loss of this icon. Um,
And it's interesting because it's not like, usually when there's a new CEO, obviously he was introduced like over a decade ago, but usually when you have a new CEO, it's kind of worse. And it's like, oh, how's this person going to change the company and uproot it? But he just, I guess he was chosen because he stuck to Nintendo's values so closely. Like he didn't go in and, I'm going to change everything and rip this all apart. Whatever. No, they stuck to it. They kept going with, new innovative ideas and making gaming social about being in person with each other, which it doesn't even happen anymore now. Like the new Halo won't even have like offline multiplayer, which is really surprising. So, like Nintendo's still pushing through that. I mean, obviously having a gamer as a CEO helps a lot because he's programmed and made games, so he knows like what people are looking for. And I think he's probably one of the few, if not only, CEOs in video games that actually like developed games at some point.
yeah, there's some
Well, like
stories like
I think Phil Spencer might have done something. I think he was on like Jeopardy or something, and he made some games or played them or something. I honestly forget. I think he started his own company when he was a kid. Maybe that was someone else, but
yeah.
that's the only other person I could possibly think of.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he was not just a regular programmer, run of the mill. Like,
No.
you can look it up, and he's got, like, for example, the only reason the Gold and Silver games have two regions is because Iwata, while Game Freak could not do this, he was able to single-handedly um, condense the file size so that you could fit two regions in, which is incredible.
I mean, they still can't even do it.
Yeah, they still can't even do it.
Or still won't do it. It's funny that we've been complaining about that like all these years, and we're like, why can't we get a second region like in Johto and or Gold and Silver? And it's like, wow, that was a lot. He just kind of did it for us.
Yeah,
like, oh,
he did.
So it's all thanks to him.
Yeah, there was so many. There's like I just saw a list. I can't remember them off the top of my head. Just like things he did that were just amazing.
So much news coming out about him.
Yeah.
Just to point out something, he also was the one behind the core elements and the way that it was handled to the world, the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. It was his original idea and vision, and then Sakurai, in a way, adapted what he was thinking and drawing paper to put it in the video game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of legendary, and we may have had our various gripes over the years in terms of like maybe Nintendo didn't do something that we were too happy about, but overall, he was an incredibly positive influence, I think, on Nintendo. Now, one of the worst things I think is the fact that it's pretty safe to say Nintendo's in the middle of a transition phase, and Iwata is was setting up dominoes, in a row, ready to knock them down. When you've got quality of life, you've got this DNA, you've got this new loyalty program in the mobile development, you've got the Nintendo NX, and then theme parks, exactly, movies possibly.
Yeah, he went. That's exactly what we and my friends discussed today. It was that he passed away in a critical moment inside Nintendo, because if his vision comes to fulfill, I mean, it can be realized with the NX, all the other partnership, all the other third-party collaboration that he said in a statement 2 weeks ago that Nintendo is making, and they haven't announced it yet. And he passed away in a very critical moment in Nintendo. So that's what made me the most sad, not because what Nintendo is doing, it's because the legacy that he could, put in Nintendo if his original vision comes true, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's really it's scary, I think, quite frankly speaking, because as I said, he's like setting up these dominoes to knock them all down next year when everything kind of comes into fruition. Um, and it's scary, like
Oh man, yeah. Who's gonna present it?
yeah, well, you got Nintendo Directs, which I don't feel like are ever going to be the same. Um,
Yeah.
you've got like who's gonna finish this? What if my biggest fear is like someone's gonna come in as the new CEO and be like, "Well, we're moving to mobile development because that's profitable." We need someone. You know,
I don't know if we really do have to worry too much about that because I think Nintendo knows internally, besides whatever the investors think, that they know where they want to go, and they'll choose someone who follows that.
Sorry to interrupt, Matt, but I
No,
think
that's okay.
it's more that Nintendo knows who has to be a CEO.
Yeah, exactly.
What I mean, what I'm
yeah,
trying to say, what pedigree that person has to have, what ingredients and condiments that person has to have to sit in that chair, because in a way, he will be the symbol of Nintendo in the world.
yeah,
Aside of, we all know that Miyamoto is Nintendo because he's, regardless if he doesn't want that title, we all know that Nintendo is Miyamoto. But we also know that symbolic in the company, the one that has to sit in the CEO chair, it has to be everything that Nintendo is, you know?
yeah. Well, yeah, and there's a lot of well, on one hand, I'm talking about uncertainty, but on the other hand, I guess this is kind of newsy. So they released information on, what sort of cancer, and one of our writers looked it up. Apparently, um, even with a perfect surgery, the type of cancer that Mr. Iwata had only had a 20% chance of survival after 5 years. So,
Wow.
which sounds terrible. Um, on the other hand, though, it means that Nintendo knew this day would come. There was an 80% chance within 5 years that Iwata would die. So it seems like Nintendo may have already been in the preparatory stages of this. Uh, Especially, Iwata didn't go to E3. Maybe they were already preparing back then, already knowing that, maybe Iwata was already kind of combing someone to replace him, which is terrible to think about. But it might, you know, knowing how forward looking Iwata was in terms of years and years ahead, maybe that was something he was looking at because the prospects weren't very positive for him at that point.
Yeah, probably because he wasn't at last year's E3 too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure in between that E3 and this one, they had some thinking to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he wasn't in the direct either.
Oh,
So even like a couple of months ahead of E3, like they realized, hey, I can't, show up for this.
well, and it's scary. They showed I forgot where I saw it in the IGN comments somewhere. I saw a picture of Iwata, like an updated one from a month ago, and he did not look good. It was he looked like he was 100 pounds. Like it was really kind of sad. Looking back on it now, um, this news just hit out of nowhere. I mean, I guess Nintendo's known about this for a long time now, but nobody anywhere knew anything about it. Um, so
Another thing that I want to point out, this is personal. I I wasn't, how can I say, in the moment that I saw the news and read the comments, everything, I was sad. But it didn't touch me, you know what I'm saying? It didn't affect me the way that I thought it would be. But then, when the hours came through, and then today, because I knew the news yesterday,
mhm.
and then today when I saw what people did in the comment section and what letters from his best friends in Japan said about him, then I realized what kind of person he was and what it meant not only for the industry, for the whole entertainment business, you know. And one letter that I want to point out for the people, if you have the chance to read it, the letter that Shingeato Itoi, that is the creator of the Mother series, wrote about him.
Mm-hmm.
When I finish reading it, it's just a paragraph. It's 3-4 paragraphs, I think. I literally start crying
Yeah,
because
I almost started
I
bawling.
I I I never knew that you can express that kind of friendship, you know, in the way that he did. So, and I know also that other people express it the way, but it, I don't know. It felt that that one in particular was from his heart, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, even now talking about it, I feel like I'm getting emotional. And it's kind of amazing because, other people have died that we've known that are famous, and it never affected me up until, now. Because it almost like he was a friend, even though
Yeah.
I never met him. So,
Yeah. So when I see
Flia, were you saying something?
No, that I can understand that very much because when Yamaguchi passed away, I was devastated that week. I I was really really sad because he was literally a big part of my life, and in a way, not because he was president of a company, but because what he tried to teach me and have seen me when I grew up, you know, with the things that I grew up. Because believe it or not, I don't know you guys, but most of my happiest memories are with my families and friends and even strangers, but they're all with things from Nintendo, you know, almost 80% of them. So,
Well, yeah, and the thing is, the other thing I realized and like why it touched me is because, you know, incidentally, funny enough, the thing that got me into hardcore gaming wasn't, a GameCube uh, or an Xbox or a PlayStation. It was the Wii. And even though my first console was a PlayStation 1, and then I had an N64, the Wii is what got me into hardcore gaming, which is incredibly ironic to think about.
yeah,
Because, on the N64 I played some Smash, on PlayStation I played Croc, on GameCube I played Pokemon, and I played, like, Teen Titans and Ice Age, and, and then I picked up, well, I guess a Game Boy, too, and then I picked up Game Boy, and I played Pokemon. Pokemon, hardcore gamers play Pokemon, but Pokemon is not a hardcore game, unless you really get into it, so, but then I picked up the Wii, and I played it, and I played it more, and I started playing Mario, and I started playing, their whole catalog of games, and what got me in was the motion controls, of course, but then I really started delving into the catalog, and started playing maybe games that are a little more hardcore, like Red Steel, and I start playing, Zelda, and I start playing Kirby, and Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Country Returns, which was a hard game, but I got through, and, all those games, and it was amazing. And then I bought an Xbox 360 and a PS3, and I started going multi-platform, and that's what really got me into this. The catalog, even on the Wii, which was considered the most casual of machines, which is what got me
yeah,
into
but
it.
inside the Gacha machine, I think it has one of the best hardcore games ever made.
Well,
I agree with you, Eli.
and not only that,
In my personal collection with the Wii, I think I have, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if 89 or 99 titles I have from the system.
wow,
And more than 55 of them are really hardcore games.
yeah,
They
there
are
were.
not casual games, or they are hardcore, difficult, and you have to sit down a long time to beat the game and be perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, that's the Wii, and then let's talk about its sibling, the DS, which I was also huge for me, in terms of getting into some games. Also, like The World Ends with You, or um, Elite Beat agents and stuff, which aren't necessarily quote unquote mainstream games, and so that's what really got, and I realized, Iwata is literally the reason why I am involved in the gaming industry at all in the first place. And who knows, like, had they not existed and I just decided to buy Xbox and end up growing up as a Call of Duty teenager, where I would have ended up. So,
In the gutter.
you would have found me homeless on the street. I wouldn't have anything to do. Xbox 360 controller in hand, screaming obscenities into a microphone and that. But I mean, I think that's why it really affected me so much because, a lot of people thought Nintendo may have been going in a wrong direction. And I mean, I don't think the Wii U is the best of ideas. However, there's no denying the effect that the Wata had on the industry and for people like me who really only got into gaming because of a mainstream console like the Wii. So,
Oh, crap, what was I going to say about that? Shoot, I just forgot. You're saying,
No,
what were you saying, Miyamoto and Iwata?
what?
I forget. Anyway, no, I was going to say, it kind of hit me once I saw a bunch of people creating fan art, just showing, like, how much devotion all these people have.
Yeah, like Kirby
Like,
sitting
how
on a
much
cliff.
Did you see
Yeah,
Kirby
the fan
sitting on a toilet?
Yeah, there was
Cliff.
really some
Oh, yeah,
fan
yeah.
arts that made you teary.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah, because it shows just how much he meant to the company and what effect he had. Like the one that really choked me up was the one where they're all at like a funeral. There's like Peach,
Yeah,
Mario,
they're all wearing suits.
Samus, wearing suits, and just like, why do you have to make such
Oh.
cute images that's sad and then make me
Oh
sad?
yeah, and there was another one that was so sad. It was kind of similar. So it had like all the main characters from the main Nintendo franchises, and then it had like a revival. Like so, like Mario was holding a 1-up, and
Yeah, that was the one that I
Link-
posted in our Twitter.
oh yeah, Link was holding the heart and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, and Iwata's lying there with like the heart on his
Yeah.
chest or something. Yeah.
That stuff is so sad. All right, I think
I just want to say one last thing.
yeah,
Because I always can't stop.
of course.
I can't shut up, whatever.
I
It's
will say
interesting.
another thing after you finish.
Okay. It's interesting to see if you look back how much of an impact he had on the company. So you look at Yamauchi and he, researched the gaming industry with the NES and SNES that almost died without it. And then, it kind of went a little downhill for Nintendo. And then once the DS and Wii came back, which is, Iwata's main consoles that he helped, like it resurged the gaming industry again and made gaming so much, as popular as it is today because it got so many people into it. And then it gave Nintendo, like, that household name again. It's just funny to see, like, the one guy started off and it, makes it bang, and then, like, a decade later, the same thing happens.
Yeah. Flia, do you want to add something else?
Yeah, I want to say that little quote that I read today that really was very motivational and also made me cry because I didn't know that that quote was from him. I never knew. And the quote that says that in my business card, it says that I'm a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer, but in my heart, I will always be a gamer. That quote is from him. I didn't know that. I didn't knew that.
Yeah, there were a bunch of quotes that came out around that time. As I said, the other one was games. It's like games are made for fun, just fun, or something like that. I butchered that, but yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to say before we move on is, Iwata's death is terrible, and we're talking about it because we valued him so much, and because he was so important. I also think there's an element of like we'll need, like, everyone has a different amount of time for coping that they need, but I think I think that at one point we need to continue to move on because, we cover Nintendo, and we love Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't die with Iwata, and Iwata was looking forward to all these great, amazing ideas and systems and games to come out. And Miyamoto, in his statement, he said, "We're going to make games that will make Iwata proud," which is amazing. To say something like that.
Yeah, I was really proud when I read that from Miyamoto, and also what Reggie said in his statement that Iwata's vision is continuing inside Nintendo in its core. So that really made me also, how to say, calm.
Yeah.
And the projects Iwata left on, like, it's not convenient because it's terrible that he passed, but okay, I guess convenience is the word. That he passed like just after he started getting these deals together, because now that they've kind of cemented in place, like these deals will last will have an effect on the company for the next 5 to 10 years, like the NX. Like if he passed away like 3 or 4 years ago, then sure he wouldn't really have an effect. But now that we know it's getting so close, and there's all these other deals that went through, it's like we'll be seeing the results.
What you're trying to say, Matt, is that the pathway that Nintendo has ahead of them, these 3 or 4 upcoming years, they were set first by Iwata.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be one of those things, and as Flia pointed out, Reggie said this in his quote, like, we'll be looking back, and who knows, maybe in 3 years, Nintendo is going to be raking in billions and billions of dollars because their quality of life took off, and everyone's playing their smartphone games, and then their new console's freaking amazing, who knows? And then we'll look back and say, wow, at that point, I mean, everyone loved Iwata, but before he died, there wasn't this appreciation for him. But now we understand, like everything he really did, and really ended up leaving his legacy in Nintendo. Yeah. So my point was, I think, of course, it is very important to pay tribute to Iwata's life, and bring forward these sort of tidbits and value him in all these sort of ways. But we also have to look forward as Nintendo fans on what's going to happen in the future and the awesome things Iwata has laid down for the fans coming up in these next several years. So, with that, I want to move on because we all love Iwata, but I think we should move on to maybe a few more happier topics, even though we're still in morning. So we will move into, as always, into what we've been playing. So I guess I will begin. I've been playing 2 games this last week. The first one being Majora's Mask, which I talked about last week, which, as of right now, is still my number 1 or number 2 Zelda game. I haven't yet decided if I like it better than Wind Waker or not. I'm more than halfway through. I'm about to start the 3rd temple, the Great Bay Temple, which apparently is the shittiest one, so I'm scared. But I'm really having a blast. I feel like, as I said last week, it really feels like an open world. Everyone's having their own lives. So many different things to do, so many different side quests. Almost every person has their own little story that you can see through in this 3-day period, which is amazing. I'm kind of running through with a list of side quests I'm trying to complete, and like hearts to find, the heart pieces, all the masks to get. I'm kind of like going through, crossing them out. I think it's great. I think the game can be a little bit too easy at times in combat, but then too hard at times in terms of puzzles. And that's partly because of the time limit, but things that are just so weird, like why would this puzzle solve this way? I mean, it makes sense in one aspect, but another aspect is like, wow, that's kind of hard. So that's the one thing I've been playing. The other game I played through this last week was The Order 1886 for the PlayStation 4.
Did you beat it already?
Yeah, yes, I beat it already.
How was the movie? Was it a good movie?
It was pretty much, I mean, so the game, I paid $15 for it. So first of all, I came in and I'm like, I paid $15. This is literally maybe $5 more than I'd spend on a movie. So I've got movie expectations on this one. So I come in, and I mean, I'm happy I played it. It is probably the most beautiful game I've ever played. Uh, it's just gorgeous. The way the characters are animated, the way the world looks, it's gorgeous. So I'm happy I played through it in that respect. Um, Obviously, I've got some issues with it. Like, I'll be running down, and then there'll be like a corridor going down to the side, and I'm like, wow, actually, maybe this isn't super linear. And then I run to the end of the corridor, and there's literally nothing there, and it's just there to exist, and that annoys the hell out of me.
Is there like a bench at the end of it, and that's
Not even that. There are nothing. No, there are collectibles, but they're super rare. Um, the combat is fun. Like the combat is fun. Fighting werewolves is fun. Um, I kind of wish there was more of it. I feel like so there's 16 chapters in total, um, amounting to about 6 hours, maybe 6 or 7, 6 hours probably to beat the game. And I think maybe 2 of those hours are shooting, and the shooting parts are fun. The other 4 hours are like cutscenes, and it's not bad. Like I don't think the game is bad. I think if I was rated, I'd give it like a 7, maybe a 6.9. Um, I don't know that sounds like something IGN would do is give it a 6.9. Um, but so I don't think it's bad. But it's not really that. There's not much gameplay there. Um, so I guess in summary, I'm happy I played it because it's gorgeous and I want to see a game that looks that good. The story isn't bad. The story's fine. Um, and it's kind of a cool concept. And the gameplay there isn't very much of it. It's maybe a third of the time. And it's a shame because the gameplay is fun. Like, I liked shooting people. I liked the little stealthy sections that they had to an extent. Um, and I almost got all those trophies. There's like 3 trophies I have left, and I've played through one time, and, whatever. So,
it. Do you upgrade your weapons, or did you just get a whole new weapon?
no,
Because I think there's like an
that was
electric
another,
gun.
yeah, that was another one of my complaints. So there are really cool weapons. Like there's a thermite gun, which is a gun where like you shoot a flare, and then you shoot the thermite, and then the flare like makes the thermite kind of like explode. So you can, so it's just kind of interesting how it works. That it's hard to explain because I don't know how to explain thermite. But if you look up a
No,
video
it's
of
okay. I've
thermite
seen
on YouTube,
Mythbusters.
yeah, it's pretty much like that, and it's really awesome. There's another gun like an electricity gun, which is really really cool. There's another one that you like throw grenades, but the grenades you detonate whenever you want. So like you'll throw them and then you detonate them when you press the button, which is really cool too. There's another gun I forgot that was really cool. It's like this rocket launcher thing, but it was a little different. The problem is you used each weapon literally once, maybe twice, depending on which weapon it was. Like, why would you
So how often do they give you guns then if you only use them once?
Well, most of the
Or do they
time you're
like
playing
get
with
rid
like a
of it?
normal machine gun or a pistol, which is like it's fun, but you created these awesome badass weapons. Why can't I play with them? And
Yeah.
they'll give it to you like, oh, here you go. We designed a section for you where you can use this gun, like in these walls, in this dome, because you're a little 4-year-old. You're not old enough to use this anywhere else.
Yeah.
You, so that's one
That's
of
the
my
one thing you're not supposed to take from Zelda. Jeez.
yeah. So I mean that's one issue I had with the game. So I mean, if you find it for $15, I say why not pick it up? You'll have a fun 6 hours. Maybe even return it if you get it done in 2 days. But yeah, it's not an amazing game. I'm happy I played it though.
That's cool.
What about you, Matt? What have you been playing?
Pretty much nothing. I played a bit of Smash Bros. And that's it. I downloaded like I think 15 or 20 demos for the 3DS. I forget why. I think I found like one demo and I thought it was cool, and then I just went through all of them and I'm like, I'm gonna try these. I'm thinking of I want to get Splatoon for my birthday, but I'm thinking I might look into One Piece World Red as well because that looks pretty cool. I was hoping there was a demo.
I'm watching the anime. I'm watching One Piece. I'm in episode 250, something like that. And I'm literally going to play a One Piece game. So I'm probably gonna also download One Piece World Red for the Wii U.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like a cool game, but I haven't seen enough of it.
Isn't it digital only?
No.
Yeah,
I think on the Wii U it's digital only. On the 3DS it's not.
yeah.
Okay,
3DS
maybe.
is cartridges, but Wii U is only digital.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Um.
Yeah, because I remember thinking it was just for PS3 and 3DS, and then I found out there's a Wii U version. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, there's no Wii U version on.
Yeah, but because the 3DS is not HD and has different functionality in some things, and the Wii U version is exactly the same as the PlayStation 3, the HD version of the game.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. Well, I think you should pick up Splatoon because Splatoon is pretty awesome. But whatever.
Yeah, no, I definitely want it. Plus, it's more expensive, so I get someone. If I get someone else to pay for that, then I could buy one piece myself. I don't know. I think even though I pre-ordered so many games just to get like a discount, if I have money for them, I probably won't buy a lot of games because I still have like I don't know 10 other games. I have like half of them are indies, half of them are retail. Like I barely played the Mario Kart 8 like DLC tracks I bought, so I'm kind of regretting that because I only played them like once and then went to something else. So I'll probably try to finish on my backlog.
Yeah, man. I recently. I don't think I mentioned this on the last podcast. I recently went on How Long to Beat. Did I say this before?
No, but I go there all the time.
Okay.
If I want to see something's worth it.
So I went to howlongtobeat.com and I decided to chart put in all the games I've beaten and on my backlog, okay? So all the games I've beaten, I think this is over the last like 4 or 5 years, amounted to about 250 games. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty respectable. I'm making good progress. I'm beating lots of games, all this sort of thing. And then
That's how many you haven't beaten?
Those are the number I've beaten. I've beaten like 250 games.
I was going to say, if that was how many you haven't beaten, 250 is not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
You know what's worse than 250 beaten left to play?
350.
407 left to play.
Oh my gosh. Where'd you get that from?
Well, I counted all the things I need to play. Now, a lot of the games, like, I'm scrolling through, obviously a lot of these games are PlayStation Plus games, so like 50 a year are added because of PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
And then Xbox games for gold, and then just shit I bought because I was at GameStop and I saw that Wii games were super cheap, like, or because of Steam sales, or because of, like, for example, I have The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker completed on my completed list, but The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD on my non-completed list. What else is here? And just like a lot of stuff. Most of these games I got like super cheap, or the Humble Bundle. Like a lot of these PC games that I can't play because my computer can't run them.
How bad is your computer, or how intense are these games? Because I hear that from some people, and it's like there's not too much going on in these games.
My computer's pretty bad. Like I try to play Gone.
1998 Windows 98 computer.
I try to play Gone Home because that was supposed to be a super good game. Couldn't run that really well. I mean, it ran, but like shit.
What?
So
how? That game's literally like one house corridor, and that's it. It's like basically a tech demo.
Tell me about it. So
isn't it? Crap. What was that? Like crappy Wii game people hated on the eShop that was like $2. Oh, the letter. Yeah, it's basically that for your computer. I don't know why you can't run it.
So yeah, well, my list is terrible. If I were to begin today and play non-stop without taking any breaks or sleeping or eating, then I would finish my backlog in 285 days.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm screwed. I kind of accepted the fact I'm never going to finish these,
Yeah.
So
well, what you should do is narrow down the games that you've actually paid for, because that might cut out a lot.
Yeah, but there are even games
also one of the reasons that I don't buy a lot of digital, regardless if they have a very cheap price or are free.
Yeah, because then you'll just be like, yeah, it's a great price, and then you didn't have any intent to play it at that time, and then it'll just sit there. And me, I forget it even though it's on my desktop.
Yeah, because of hoarding. But digital hoarding isn't as, like, you don't see it's there. Yeah, you forget about it. Especially with hard drive space, I might own like 150 PS3 games because of PlayStation Plus, but I can only download like 20 of them at a time. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Flia, what about you? What have you been playing?
I think you know about a lot about this game. I've started Bravery Default.
Ooh, that game starts off really well. The first 30 hours are great, and then, but
Really?
yeah, Flia will get there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm almost 28 hours, so I hate you right now.
Wait, what chapter are you on?
I'm going to rescue the fire temple Vestal, the fire Vestal.
I don't remember. What chapter,
She
though?
died.
I don't remember.
Chapter 4.
Spoilers.
Chapter 4? Okay, this is your last chapter of enjoyment. Um, have fun. Love it while it still's there. Because next week you're going to come on and you'll be like, what the fuck? And then it's okay. I won't spoil anything for you now. But
No, that's subjective. Everyone likes
you're
one
right.
game for every personal reason. What I'm going to say is that I'm really enjoying my ride with the game because I really wanted to play a classic RPG, and this game is really delivering.
Yeah, no, it's super fun at the beginning. I wrote in my review that if it was just the first 30 hours, the game would have gotten like a 9.5. But because of the second 30 hours, it didn't. Um, so, yeah, I know, who knows? You might like it. I was talking to Emil, who's a Zelda Symphony on my GN, and he said he liked the second half of the game. So who knows? You might like it too. It's quite possible. Um, all right. So, cool beans. Anything else?
Um, it's not playing. I'm still trying to finish the 20cc, 200cc Mario Kart 8.
Oh yeah, that's hard. That's really hard.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever.
Yeah.
But I'm making progress. I'm not finishing the cup with 3 stars, but I'm making progress.
Yeah, it's hard. Understandable. All right. I guess we're kind of running low on time here. We got about a little more than 15 minutes left. So why don't we head into the news? Which thank you, Matt, for compiling all this. I'll scroll down. We'll go through this kind of quick. Things that are important we'll talk about. So Amiibo, first and foremost, dark versions of Donkey Kong and Bowser Skylanders are coming. Donkey Kong is at the Wii U, Bowser's on the Wii and 3DS. Essentially, someone did the research and calculated that it would cost about $330, I think. No, $350 if you were to try to get all these amiibo. So it's literally 6 amiibo, and that's $350. So screw you, Nintendo. Nobody's gonna. I can't imagine it because people are gonna spend that money, and it's not gonna be me. This is why I put my foot down and the amiibo cards. But
I think you're wrong. I think most people will put their foot down and be like, "Well, we'll just pass it off and give the excuse that it's not part of Nintendo's official line, and I don't want to spend $400 on like 6 copies of the same game that I'm not even going to play."
yeah, man, I can just imagine one person on eBay or something trying to get rid of 6 copies of the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Bundle too, like Wii U 3DS.
All right. Mewtwo amiibo was at Comic-Con, as was Falco. You can find those pictures online. We can't really talk about pictures.
Yeah.
And then Amazon's going to be talking about something soon, but by the time this comes up, we will already know what that was.
They were going to say it today, but they passed on it because of Iwata.
Yeah. All right, so we already knew that Nintendo is making 5 games by 2017 for the mobile devices, but in the most recent Q&A, I think, something like that.
Also regarding that, a little rumor that I have read in 2 sites in Japan is that Nintendo has already a partnership to make games like Hero the Warrior. I mean, like a third-party relationship of 9 games.
Oh wow, that's a lot. I mean,
I
obviously
haven't heard of that.
we don't know. Yeah, obviously we don't know if that's true. We'll see. Maybe
Yeah,
we don't know.
that's a rumor, and also it doesn't say even the system. So
Yeah,
most people speculate in Japan that it's from most of them are for Nintendo NX.
yeah. So anyway, these 5 games for mobile devices, they're going to be 5 different genres for 5 different properties of Nintendo. So you're not going to get like two Mario games. You're not going to get two Zelda games, etc. It's going to be one from each of 5 franchises. Um, Now, this news that Matt you put in here pisses me off so much. The
I'm
Animal
wondering which one. Okay, now you just. I
the
was gonna say,
Animal
I'm wondering which
Crossing
one.
team made Amiibo Festival and Happy Home Designer because they wanted Animal Crossing Amiibo. Like this game probably has been in development for literally 3 months. Like they're like, oh wait, these are gonna make money for us. Whoa, wait, we're gonna make $150 off of one game because people are gonna buy the Amiibo. Oh my god, that's it. We need a team on this ASAP. Take Mario Party, put some Animal Crossing characters in there. Hey, you know that NX Animal Crossing game? Yeah. Just take the assets from there, throw them in this game. It's gonna take 3 months to make this thing. It's gonna be great, and that just pisses the fucking hell out of me.
Jeez. The sad thing is the amiibo will probably sell more than the actual sequel game would
That's
have.
probably
Like
true.
a real Animal Crossing. It's that's sad.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, man. That oh my god, that
I
game
mean, it's
was
so weird because they set it up with the Plaza thing, the Animal Crossing Plaza, and after that, and they're like, oh, after a year we'll cut it loose, and I'm like, okay, then they'll show off like the next Animal Crossing.
dude. That
There was
game
time in between, and they did, but it's not what we thought.
that game is the definition of a cash in. Like
Yeah,
the
they literally
definition.
just said, yeah, we did it so we could cash. Well, it was because they wanted the toys, but it also seems like a cash in too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not gonna buy Amiibo Festival, but I'm gonna buy all 6 of those Amiibo because I'm crazy. I'm just insane. Keep them boxed up. uh, speaking of cash-ins, Sonic. So Sega apparently,
No, this is going to be the other way around. Anyway, go on.
Sega, said, quote, or not quote, but paraphrasing here. Apparently, if you release games, now this is just an incredible idea. I didn't even know this was a thing. Apparently, if you make good quality games, they will sell well.
They say that they have based this idea from Atlas.
Yeah, they said
Yeah.
they.
Oh dear God!
They're like, wait, we invested in a company and they're doing better than us. What are you doing right?
Yeah,
It's like not what you're doing clearly. Like maybe we shouldn't just rehash Sonic every other year, and then make it good, and then people will buy it. It's like really
You know what's funny about
novel
this?
idea.
I think this is personal. There was only one good Sonic game in 15 years. And how they make money? I mean, how Sega makes money?
I don't know.
I think there's a little more than one. I mean, people like Sonic Colors, people like Sonic Generations. You got Sonic 4 Episode 1, and then I don't even know if 2 ever came out. I don't remember.
The Adventure series, did that? Like, I know fans like the Adventure series, but did it do all that well?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I know, some people like that one. So I think, but there were, yes, Sonic has quite the tarnished reputation. You know, most people now know him as the guy that competes against Mario in the Olympics. So,
What a sad state of affairs that is.
yeah. So,
Hey kids, in 20 years, guess what? Mario's gonna face Sonic. Oh yeah, in the Olympics.
yeah.
Well, at least there's Smash Bros.
Yeah. So, I mean, no shit, Sega. I mean, I think they're also not only just Sonic, it's also, like Aliens having 2 games that weren't that great. And then just what was the other one? Lost
That
Planet.
didn't sell It sold like okay. The
Yeah,
first one.
yeah, and then Lost Planet, the last one got panned in the reviews. So pretty much,
Lost Planet is Capcom.
oh, Capcom, oh shit,
Yeah, yeah.
I got that screwed up. Sega, yeah, yeah. Anyway, like their games recently have not been that great. Speaking of Sega, though, I'll have more about this in the next podcast. I got Tembo the Badass Elephant to review,
Oh, nice.
which
That's
is
not. Oh wait, yeah. Sorry, you're right. That is Sega. It was just Game Freak as well.
that
Go on.
is developed by Game Freak, but not published by Nintendo, and it's not on any Nintendo platforms. It's coming out on every platform but Nintendo, and it's developed by Game Freak, which is super weird. Published by Sega. I'll have more on that next week. I just haven't started the game yet, and that's just super weird. But
Game Freak is weird because the two games that they've made that are new IPs both start characters that have similar names, Tempo and Tembo.
yeah, that is
Like,
weird.
what's next? You're just gonna keep changing that like fourth letter?
Well, I really
Yeah,
like Game.
perhaps they will go Kempo. That is a martial art.
Well, the thing I like about Game Freak is that they've got their little division side team that's allowed to work on, or not side team, but I think it's now 2 titles a year they allow to be not like mainline titles from Game Freak. So we got Rhythm, forgot what it's called, the rhythm game for the 3DS. Then they released the
Harmonite.
Harmonite. Then they released the horse solitaire game. That only released in Japan. You know, who greenlit that? Like, someone walks in the room and is like, dude, I got a great idea. So, you know,
the worst thing was they teased it. Like, Game Freak's gonna have a cool new game. It's Horse Solitaire. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why'd you even tease it?
Like, how did they pitch that? Like, a guy walks in the room and is like, dude, you know horse racing? The guy's like, yeah. He's like, I think that could be big. And the guy's like, yeah, I'm following you. That's good. And the guy's like, well, and like, let's add solitaire because nobody likes just horse racing games. I was like, yeah, you're a genius. That's weird, but whatever. You know, good to hear that they're allowed to make some other games, even if it's not coming to the Wii U. I'm happy that Game Freak is not just a Nintendo machine. The relationship between Game Freak and Nintendo is just incredibly interesting because they publish their own games sometimes. Just look at the Pokemon card game, trading card game that comes out on iOS. You know, Pokemon Shuffle was recently announced for iOS. They've got a really interesting relationship. They kind of like do their own thing.
Yeah, it's weird. Like Pokemon games, mainline Pokemon games, they have to put on Nintendo consoles. I think because Nintendo owns that, but then they can do what they want outside.
Yeah.
It's weird because Game Freak is the only company that doesn't have amiibo compatibility with anything other than Smash Bros. Even with other Nintendo games.
Yeah, probably because they own their property. They own the Pokemon trademarks, and Nintendo probably has to pay them for licensing. I mean, I don't know if that's true.
But I mean, it's so weird because they have, like, Mega Man, Sonic, and Pac-Man support in games other than Smash Bros. Like, multiple games.
That's true.
So it's like, what the crap? They own one, and they get no support, and then the other ones they don't own, and they get a ton of support.
That's really weird. Yeah, I agree. So some other stuff really quick. Number 1, Super Mario Maker. Apparently, there's like a cap on how many levels you can upload, and based off of how many upvotes you get, you can upload more and more levels. Now, I think that's a pretty cool system, quite honestly. People won't be spamming levels. Some other stuff here. Elite Quest has apparently sold better on the Wii U than Steam. This is not the first game to do so. There was another game, I forgot what it was. Just recently, someone announced that it sells better on the Wii U than on Steam. Forgot what it was. I think it's partly because apparently Steam releases on average 5 games a day, which is ridiculous. So, you know, when you got thousands of games coming to Steam every year and maybe like one quality title releasing on the Wii U each week, it's understandable why one might stick out a little more, even though Steam is way bigger. Rumor, well, not really a rumor. It's Limbo's coming to the Wii U. It's currently a rumor because it's not confirmed yet, but it's pretty much coming because it got a USK rating, and apparently, like, those are like $10,000 to get. So, like, why would a publisher pay for that if they're not going to release it? So,
yeah,
Same thing happened with Terraria. Terraria was leaked by the USK about 6 months
Yeah, but
before
what
it
game
was
are you
announced.
talking about, Eli?
Oh, Limbo.
Limbo. Ah, yeah.
It's come to pretty much every system, you know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Devil's Third. So we were the first. Let me just freaking say this: we were the first to report that it's not going to be published by Nintendo. This was like 2 weeks ago. Then Unseen64 also had one of their sources say the same thing, and then Siliconera had one of their own sources saying the same thing too. This is weird because like 2 days ago, Nintendo of America tweeted that they were going to publish it. So now everyone looks bad because we've literally had 3 reputable sources say, "Well, no, they're not." And then Nintendo comes out and says, "Well, screw you guys, we actually are." So
I don't. Yeah, I read that, and I just read that recently. I don't think they actually say they're publishing it. They just said look forward to seeing
yeah,
Devil's
they
Third,
said, "Well,
which means it's coming. But whether they're actually publishing or not isn't specified.
yeah,
And then Emily Rogers says that she thinks Xseed is going to be publishing it.
yeah." Yeah, I think we were talking about it. So we have a guy on our site, Sean Long, who is good friends with Emily, and they were talking about it, and they thought it was Xseed, and they actually think it's going to be a GameStop retail exclusive, like Xenoblade was. So we don't know. That's just kind of like speculation, but might be. Same stuff here. I'm skipping a few of these pieces of news because we got to finish up. But 3DS NFC reader is Amiibo reader pretty much. You can now pre-order multiple sites. Target. I'm not sure if GameStop is yet ready for that, but Toys R Us also has it up. $20 for those that don't want to upgrade their 3DSs. We got Pokemon Tournament. A lot of the developers were kind of teasing that they're thinking about bringing it to the West. We don't really know. Yokai Watch 3 is going to be available in 2016 in Japan. Also, apparently, according to this news here, there's 5 Yokai Watch games that will be released between now and summer 2016. Now, I think this takes into account like both versions of Yokai Watch Busters, both versions of Yokai Watch 3, and then the American version of Yokai Watch. So that's 5. So
okay, that would make sense. Because I'd be like, that's quite a lot to get in like a 1-year span.
Mm-hmm. And then Gravity Falls come to 3DS. You know what? This was funny because Sean wrote up the article for this from our site. He didn't know what to write because we didn't know anything about it. So he just wrote up this, threw this up thinking it wasn't going to go anywhere. And it was one of our highest hitting articles of the week because apparently there are a lot of people that care about Gravity Falls. I didn't know that. It's cool.
Apparently it's a really weird series that has like a lot of things going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, apparently it's got a huge adult following. Like a lot of people really like it because it's a lot of adult humor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff there. And then Korokoro apparently teases a new Pokemon. I did not even see this. Possibly a new Zygarde form. I didn't even know that. So interesting stuff there.
I think it has to do with a movie or something.
Yeah, probably because I think hackers have already pretty much discovered all the new Pokemon. So we'll see. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this time. Devil's Third, hopefully we'll be hearing about that soon. It seems like we will. And yeah.
Oh, I was going to say about Devil's Third, apparently it doesn't sound like it's doing too well, like quality-wise.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Like watched that video from N64. Basically, like, Nintendo of America lost faith in it, and they said it. He was in a discussion with a Nintendo of America rep, and the rep said this looks like it'll be a disaster day of crisis situation where basically the Nintendo execs thought it was terrible and didn't want to publish it, and then apparently the European game websites are getting the build like really close to the launch date. I guess
Yeah,
because they don't believe in it, like a bunch of other stuff.
yeah, I heard there was Guillaume Veillette or something. No, I don't know. Someone was playing Devil's Third, saying that I wasn't doing that amazing. Um, Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of we're hearing rumors. I think it was the guy from Unseen 64 who posted that it was running like 15 frames a second. So,
Yeah.
well, we'll see. Also, I heard it was because like Nintendo not only lost faith in the project, but just pretty much like stopped supporting it and stopped giving them money. So, of course, when you're cut off, there's only so
Yeah.
much you can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is where we'll finish off. I think we had an excellent discussion about the news, Iwata, and all the games we've been playing. So, as always, let's close out where you can find us. I am Eli, Paulo Salon on IGN, Paulo Salon on Twitter, PALESELAN. You can also find me on YouTube as Nintendo Network 64 and my writing on NintendoEnthusiast.com. Matt?
Alright, I am the Mango Viking, and you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yours is so much quicker than mine. Alright, Flia?
I'm Flia from my IGN. You can find me there, but you can't find me there because they are really messing the crap out of it. I don't know what the hell the engineers are doing in my IGN these days, but you can find me there when things will get better.
So in 3 years.
Yeah. We'll see. I think right now they're focusing on trying to get live fire working on the rest of the site first.
Yeah, no, I think that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Because we're still waiting on notifications. Jeez.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.